Hey all, it's Denise and I'm in my studio today. It's Friday afternoon and I've kind of got things torn up. I'm getting prepared to do 3 different fine art fairs coming up over the next couple months, and those would be Art Walk Little Italy, Art Walk Liberty Station, Art Walk Carlsbad, all in the San Diego area. And I also have a solo show that's going in May to the beginning of June. So I've got to get prepared for all of these things and get my art situated. But I wanted to share with you, if you've ever thought about doing an art fair, or if you've done one and you just are not comfortable with the setup. I've done a lot of them and I've kind of got it streamlined to, what I need to take, what I don't need to take, and making it really easy to get in, set up my show, and be ready to sell some art. So I want to share some of that with you today. I have a checklist I'm going to be going by, and I think I'm going to post that in the description below. I got to figure out how to do that, how to do a PDF for that. But I'm going to do that. And if not, I'll have it on the screen. So when it comes up, take a screenshot. Let's get started. And I'm going to show you what I go through when I'm getting prepared for a show. Alrighty, before I get into some of the supplies and the things you'll need to set up a show, I want to talk a little bit about setting up your show. And I always feel like, just like a piece of art, your tent, your space should look like a piece of art. So take everything into account. Take into how you set it up, how your colors are going together, how you lay the art out, and it really makes a big difference to make the whole tent look like a piece of art. So that being said, let's talk about tents. Now, the setup that I have is the Flourish mesh walls, and I love them. I love that I have a lot of freedom of how I hang the art, because I just use drapery hooks, large drapery hooks, to slip into the mesh and hang my art. And the mesh is pulled tight so it doesn't stretch out, and it always goes right back into shape when you take all your art down. So that's really pretty wonderful. The thing with the mesh walls is they usually run about a little over $900 to $1,000 for 3 panels, but well worth it, because they're really easy to set up and really much lighter to lug around than the Artist Pro panels, which look really great, but they're really heavy and you have to set them up. And for me, they tend to make the space look darker because they're solid walls. So I'm not a big fan of the Pro panels. And along with that, they're pretty expensive. They're a pretty pricey choice, anywhere from $1,500 up to $3,000 and above for a Pro panel basic setup. Now, there's always the grids. The grids are kind of fun. You can do a whole setup in your space for probably about $300. You can get the grids at the Home Depot, and I think it's $100 for 3 panels. So if you did 3 panels on each of your 3 walls, that'd run you about $300, plus accessories, plus the S-hooks and anything else that you need to hang your art with. And I think it's always a good idea to have a table where you can put your small art, a table that you can hide your bin full of supplies underneath so that your space looks nice and clean and professional. And for me, it's really important to not only plan out what art I'm taking, but before I ever go to a show, I've already got my walls planned out. And I do that on Canvy.com. You can do it on your desktop. You can put your paintings onto a gallery wall to scale to the size of your paintings and get a good idea of what they're going to look like and how the art lays out before you ever get to the art show. And while you're pulling it all together, getting your art all together and planned out, don't forget to take small pieces. I always feel it's really important to have small pieces so that everybody can leave with a piece of original art. And you never know, those customers who may have bought a small $50 piece at one show may come back a show or two later and buy a larger piece because they like your work so much. So yes, have some small pieces, have a variation, and you can keep them on that table that you're going to have in your tent. So that makes a really nice presentation. Okay, so now that we've got all the art bagged up and ready to go to the show, let's move on to the supplies you're going to need. Okay, I'm going to start with the supply list, and I'm going to put a photo of this for you to do a screenshot in case you want to use my supply list. But that's what I'm going to work off of because it's so easy to have a list and know everything that you need to bring along with you to an art fair. So what I have is I have pens. I love to take black Sharpie, a Posca. It never fails. One of my black frames will get scraped or get a ding in it, and I can touch it up on the spot with my Posca pen. I take a notebook, so I have somewhere to write things down. Maybe I need to remember to bring something back the next day, or I need information for a customer. I have a notebook on hand for that. Of course, scissors. I have tape and glue, both packing tape and duct tape if anything needs to be repaired or my sign blows off and I need to rehang it. Duct tape is really great for that. Glue I bring just in case. Seems like I needed it one time and that one time left an impression, so I always bring glue with me now. I have bubble wrap. I don't use bubble wrap as much. I've started to do something new to wrap up my paintings, and I'm going to show you that. I always have cardboard corners to go put on my artwork. Whoops. Put on the artwork once I've sold it. And I bring my staple gun and staples to staple the corners onto the back of the artwork if I need to, and I'll show you how I do that. I bring a hammer. You really need a hammer, especially if you're on grass and your tent needs to have the stakes put in. So I have a hammer for that. I have pliers and wire cutters because my tent has some wing nuts to tighten my mesh siding. So I need that. I have my square card reader. My square reader. And that, of course, is for making sales. However, and now in the day of Venmo, most people will do Venmo, or they can do a tap screen on my phone. So, but I always have that with me just in case. Let's see, what I forget. Oh, zip ties. Zip ties come in handy for everything. Hanging art, closing up your tent at night, hanging grids. I use zip ties almost every single show that I'm at, so I never go without those. And one thing I really, really highly recommend, not only for shows, but just for everyday life. I have a little portable battery charger, and I keep this guy charged up. Let me see if I can get him out of here. I keep him charged up, and he has a USB ports. It has a light, a flashlight. It's great for when my phone wears down and I need to have my phone to make sales. I can charge it right on the spot with this little guy. Not only that, you can charge your car battery. So if you're out and about and your car battery dies, I have used this little guy. It is a champ. Don't have to call AAA. Don't have to wait around for anybody. Jumper cables, all that. It's all done with this. So I always take the little battery charger with me. I make sure I have garbage bags, cleaning wipes. I take paper towels. I take a tape measure and a level. And I also, a few extras is I take hand sanitizer. I take S hooks. I take those to hang my art with. And for the system that I use the mesh walls. I actually use drapery hooks. And I have several sizes. I'm trying a new size this time around. And I really think these are going to be great because they don't have a pointy end. But these will work great on my mesh walls. I could just slip those in and hang my art right on these. So, get it back in there. That's an extra. I take Velcro. I have Velcro because you just never know. I have used Velcro a couple times to hang my sign on the outside of my tent. So I always have that. And don't forget the red dots so you can mark pieces as sold. If somebody buys a piece and wants to wander the rest of the show before they come back and pick it up, it's good to have red dots. Plus, it's really good to have people see red dots. It means your art is selling. So that is everything off of my supply list. Next up, I'm going to show you my marketing list. Okay, so now here is the marketing information, the marketing materials that I need to take with me. I need to have, of course, my business cards, something to put them in. This is a great little box that I got from Vistaprint. I have several different cards. They all have information on how to get a hold of me. So I've got my cards. I have an email sign-up list, and what I've started doing is using one of my art journals. And I just open to a blank page and use that for my email sign-up list. And it looks really great sitting on my table. So I got that. I've got my sign underneath all of this. This is my sign that I put outside of my tent. And I also, for my upcoming solo show, I've already had posters made that will go outside of the venue where my art show will be. So I feel like I'm ahead of the game for that one. I have price tags. I print my prices with the title, with the dimensions and the price, and each painting gets a price tag to go with it. I think it's really important that you be upfront with your pricing and not leave people to have to ask what a price is. Sometimes when you do that, they may think, well, why don't you have your prices? Or is my price going to be the same as somebody else's price? It just makes it clear and it gives them an opportunity to look at a price and decide if that is in their budget or not. So I do always price my artwork. I also keep a price list of all the pieces that I'm putting in the show, because if anybody should ask, I have that right in my hand. I know I don't have to rethink it. I have my postcards, but not only do I have my postcards, but on my postcards are all the shows that I'm doing for the summer. So anybody who comes into the show, they may not be ready to buy this time, but maybe on one of the other shows they'll come back, and so I like to have that information for them. I do Venmo, my website, and my Instagram QR codes all on one sheet to make it really easy. I already talked about my Square Reader. What else am I forgetting? That's kind of all I need for my marketing materials. I think I've covered everything for that. And I also like to make sure this can go under any list, whether it be supplies or marketing. But this is all of the information from the art fair of load in, load out, where my space is going to be. So this is really important to keep on hand. Okay, I always make sure, of course, that I have things to safely pack up a piece of artwork when somebody purchases it. I've made these little, these are just little brown paper bags. You can do any kind of little paint thing on them. This is for small pieces that I sell, but usually it's the larger pieces. So what I do is I always, at the very least, put a corner on. But corners often fall off. So I just go around to the back side and put one little staple to hold it in on each corner, hold the corner on, and it's easy for the customer to remove when they get home, and it's not going to damage the painting. So that's why I always make sure I have a stapler with me, a staple gun. And the new thing I just started doing, rather than use bubble wrap, it's a double-edged sword. It kind of, it will protect your artwork, but you have to be very careful. If the artwork is sitting in somebody's car or your car and it gets warm, those little bubbles will leave marks on your artwork. So I have started using a construction sheeting, and I made my own bags. I'm going to put a link in the description for this sheeting because it is so great to work with. I have 10 yards. No, let me see. No, it's 10 feet and it's 100 feet long. So I have plenty to do all my artwork, and I just create bags and slip my art right into them. It's not sticky like bubble wrap. It just slides in. I make the bags big enough to accommodate the corners. Fine. And the great thing about it is when I do get the art to the show and hang it in my tent, I can take this plastic bag, fold it up, and stick it behind my artwork. So when the piece sells, I've already got the bag right there ready to slip the painting into it. And I'm not struggling wrapping things with bubble wrap and tape. So I'm really loving this idea. And that 100 feet by 10 feet was only like under $40. You can find them on Amazon. I'll link a couple into my description, but I am loving this new idea. So there you have it. That is how I go about setting up a show. And here is my checklist. If you have a moment, take a quick screenshot of that so that you can have a copy for yourself. And I'm sure you may want to add things to it. If you have some tips and tricks you'd like to share, please do in the comments below. I'm sure everyone could learn from that. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer, or maybe somebody else who's watching along has a good answer for you. And if you're planning on being in San Diego during one of my show dates, please do come by and say hi, introduce yourself. And while you're at it, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. I love that. And I will see you very soon. Bye.